Have you ever noticed how your mind never seems to turn off, even when everything around you is silent? The restless mind jumps from one thought to another, fueling anxiety, robbing you of mental calm, and pulling you away from the present moment, as if inner peace is always something that is left for later. And the worst thing is that the more we try to force control of thoughts, the more they seem to slip through our fingers. Now, imagine that a simple tea-now glass of water could bring about a true awakening of consciousness, bringing inner silence, focus, and a deep sense of serenity. It may sound strange, almost too simple, but that's exactly where inner wisdom lies. In this motivational story, you will discover how small changes in mindfulness and self-control of the mind can generate an inner transformation capable of changing the way you live, feel, and even breathe. Marco woke up every day with his restless mind already racing, as if his excessive thoughts had slept in his sneakers, ready to run even before breakfast. Anxiety came along, whispering 1,000 scenarios that never existed, taking away his focus and completely messing up his emotional balance. He even tried to practice meditation or mindfulness, but it was enough to close his eyes for the mental confusion to increase. It's as if the mind's self-control was broken, like an old radio that changes the station by itself, and that robbed any chance of mental calm or inner silence. Marco lived outside the present moment, trapped in stories that his own mind invented, not realizing that the first step to inner peace begins precisely by observing these thoughts, instead of fighting them. Marco carried the past like a heavy backpack, full of regrets, while the future emerged as a suspense movie he never chose to watch. These excessive thoughts fueled anxiety and shattered any chance of serenity, because his restless mind was always traveling in time, far from the present moment. Thus, the inner silence became more and more distant, like a station that he always missed. Without realizing it, Marco relived old mistakes and anticipated problems that might never come, sabotaging his own emotional balance. It lacked focus, awareness, and that kind of self-control of the mind that allows us to take a deep breath and say, "Now I'm here," something that simple mindfulness and meditation practices help develop when done consistently. Even with a restless mind full of excessive thoughts, Marco felt deep down a huge desire to experience true inner peace. It was like a quiet thirst for mental calm, for that kind of serenity that doesn't depend on the outside world, but is born within one's own consciousness. He had already read books like The Power of Now, by Eckhart Tolle, trying to understand how to live more in the present moment. This search for emotional balance made Marco test small meditation and mindfulness practices, although in a somewhat clumsy way at first. But each attempt increased his self-knowledge and strengthened the self-control of the mind, showing that inner transformation does not happen overnight, but always begins with a simple step towards inner silence. When Marco met the old psychologist, he had the feeling of being in front of someone who carried a rare inner wisdom, the kind that comes not only from books, but from life. The mentor spoke little, but each word seemed to pass through the restless mind and touch the consciousness directly, bringing an almost immediate mental calm. It was like listening to someone who really understood mind's self-control and inner silence. With a slight smile, the mentor led Marco to see his own excessive thoughts, as if pointing out clouds passing in the sky. Without judgment, he showed that true inner peace is born from self-knowledge and mindfulness, something that no one can give from the outside, but that everyone can awaken from within, step by step. The mentor explained to Marco that the restless mind only agitates because it lives outside the now, jumping between past and future like a hyperactive monkey. When mindfulness returns to the present moment, excessive thoughts lose strength, and mental calm begins to emerge almost naturally. It's like turning off several open tabs in the mind's browser and leaving only one running. He suggested something simple: feel your own breath for a minute, observe your body and listen to the sounds around you, as mindfulness teaches. This small gesture of awareness already brings a powerful inner silence, strengthening the self-control of the mind and making room for an inner peace that does not depend on any circumstance. The mentor then handed Marco a simple glass of water and asked him to hold it with all his mindfulness, as if it were the most important thing in the world. At first, the restless mind still tried to pull excessive thoughts, but little by little, the focus on the glass brought a strange sense of inner silence and mental calm. That glass became a mindfulness exercise in disguise, teaching self-control of the mind in a practical and almost fun way. Marco realized that when consciousness fixates on a single thing in the present moment, anxiety loses space and inner peace begins to sprout naturally. Holding the glass, Marco began to understand what true mindfulness is, that feeling of being 100% in the present moment. When the focus remained there, the restless mind lowered the volume of excessive thoughts, as if someone had turned the radio knob lower, bringing mental calm and a soft inner peace. The mentor explained that this is mindfulness in practice, something that anyone can train in simple things, such as drinking coffee, walking, or even washing the dishes. The more consciousness anchors itself in the now, the more the mind's self-control grows, making room for inner silence and emotional balance. As Marco maintained his full attention on the glass and the breath, something curious happened. The noise of the restless mind began to subside. The excessive thoughts lost strength, and an inner silence took the place of that constant agitation, bringing a mental calm that he had never felt before. It was as if consciousness had found a clean space, without noise, where anxiety could not enter. In this state of mindfulness, Marco realized that inner peace does not have to be sought far away, because it already exists when the focus remains firm on the present moment. Marco began to realize that true mind self-control is not fighting with thoughts, but deciding where to take attention. When consciousness chooses the present moment, the restless mind loses command, and mental calm starts to lead the experience, bringing more emotional balance. The mentor compared this to holding the wheel of life itself. If you let go, excessive thoughts take over and take you anywhere. But when focus is trained with mindfulness and meditation, inner silence grows, and inner peace goes from being an accident to a choice. With the constant practice of mindfulness and self-control of the mind, Marco began to feel a true inner transformation. The restless mind no longer dominated his days, and excessive thoughts emerged with less force, making room for more mental calm and serenity. This change did not come as a magic pass, but as a silent personal growth, built in the present moment. Gradually, Marco developed more self-knowledge and inner wisdom, realizing that inner peace is something one cultivates, not something one hunts. Marco realized that, no matter how much he changed places or situations, the restless mind would remain restless if he did not change inside. True inner peace does not depend on money, people, or problems solved, but on the self-control of the mind and consciousness in the present moment. The mentor reinforced that inner silence is born when excessive thought cease to command, something that simple mindfulness and meditation practices strengthen every day. Thus, emotional balance grows from the inside out, bringing a serenity that no crisis can steal. When Marco started to live more in the present moment, he realized that anxiety, guilt, and fear lost strength almost automatically. The restless mind calms down when the consciousness is here and now, creating a deep sense of mental calm and inner silence. The mentor explained that mindfulness is like an anchor, which keeps the focus steady even when excessive thoughts try to pull you away. Over time, this mindfulness training strengthens the self-control of the mind and deepens inner peace in a natural way. Marco realized that no theoretical explanation would have the same effect as holding that glass and feeling the inner silence creeping in. It was there, in the present moment, that consciousness really awakened, showing how the restless mind calms down when the focus is on the now. The mentor smiled, because he knew that true inner transformation is born from direct experience, not just from reading or talking. As with meditation and mindfulness, it is by living that the self-control of the mind grows, bringing inner peace and inner wisdom at the same time. Marco began to notice how the simple life and contact with nature helped his restless mind to slow down. Walking among trees, listening to the wind, and watching the sky were natural forms of mindfulness, bringing inner silence, focus, and a deep mental calm. The mentor suggested small practices, such as reading inspiring books outdoors or meditating for a few minutes in the morning, to strengthen emotional balance. At this simpler pace, consciousness expands, inner peace grows, and inner transformation happens almost effortlessly. In that quiet instant, Marco had a true awakening of consciousness, understanding that the restless mind is not who he is, but just something that happens. This insight brought a deep serenity, as if the inner silence had finally found space to flourish. With this new level of self-knowledge, Marco felt that his inner transformation was just beginning, driven by his focus on the present moment and the self-control of his mind. It was as if a new life, lighter and full of inner peace, was opening up before him. And now, looking back at Marco's journey, there's a question that won't shut up: at what point did you let your restless mind take control of your life? How many times have anxiety, excessive thoughts, and fear of the future stolen your presence in the present moment, taking you away from the inner peace that has always been there, waiting only for your full attention? Maybe today is the day to test something simple, as Marco did: breathe consciously, focus on one thing at a time, or even practice a few minutes of meditation and mindfulness. Small choices create big changes, and your awakening of consciousness can begin now, bringing more emotional balance, inner silence, and true inner transformation. If this story has touched you in any way, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to continue receiving content that feeds your inner wisdom, your personal growth, and your serenity. After all, your journey to a lighter and more conscious life is just beginning.